Hi, and welcome to the Digital Discovery Show. I'm Liz Ward from Tourism Tribe and Navii Digital. And once again, it's my pleasure to be your host of the Digital Discovery Show. As usual, we are bringing to you from the front line experienced small business people and an extra special person today to share with you their knowledge and experience in transforming businesses, their own business or business they're responsible for, using digital technology. Remember, this is your show. We would love to hear your questions, share your experience about what you're doing, and keep those comments rolling in. So today, very special guest, Claire McCollum, and I'm going to tell you about Claire in just one sec. But the headline with Claire is that she's one of the most special people in the tourism industry, in that she empowers so many other tourism operators by sharing her knowledge. And she has a really strong sense of intuition about what is going to help them. And she has a lovely manner when she coaches people. So she's a star coach for our company, for Tourism Tribe. But we also have the amazing benefit that Claire also works as the marketing and business manager for an independently owned pet-friendly accommodation business on the coast of Queensland in a beautiful place called Agnes Water 1770. So if you know Tourism Tribe, you know that we have a team in that area. And that's because one of our co-founders, my business partner, Fabian Wintle, lives there. And so we've built quite a great team there. And so they have the mix of this beautiful lifestyle there, as well as a great job. Anyway, so let me tell you a little bit about Claire's experience and why she makes such a great coach, and why she's going to be able to share with you some really tried and tested techniques in tourism business marketing today. So Claire has experience in both, not only this accommodation world that she's working in now, but also in the tour sector as well. So she was a tour guide in Kakadu in the Northern Territory for multi-day tours in the Kimberleys as well. So that gave Claire tremendous experience in that very experience-based sector, which she's been able to then bring into the accommodation space and make it more experiential. As I mentioned, she's also been the marketing and business manager for Gibsons Pet Friendly Accommodation for 5 years, where she does that part-time when she's not a fabulous coach for Tourism Tribe. And so the things that she's going to be able to share with you today is about how she's completely transformed that business to a fully self-sufficient online business, so taking it all onto an e-commerce platform. So she's migrated their entire operational systems and marketing to digital and cloud-based platforms. So as you can imagine, she's going to be able to talk to you about not only the marketing benefits that have come out of the different things that she's tried and implemented, and the sales and how they have been impacted, but also the efficiencies in the business as well. So it's going to be a really valuable discussion that we're going to have with Claire, and be able to consolidate for a lovely hour of power or so all of her amazing experience to share with you. So I welcome you, Claire. Please come and sit on the virtual couch with me. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. Oh, bit of canine security in the background.
Yeah, just waiting for the right moment to bark.
Yes, I have that on occasions too. So can you share with our audience how you've arrived? I've said a little bit about your professional life, but just, tell us about how you got into tourism and how you have found a really strong interest and developed your skills in digital marketing.
Yeah, sure. So I guess my interest in tourism started just purely with traveling. So I guess when I was at school, I just dreamed of foreign places, especially in Australia. And I decided once I finished school that that's what I wanted to do, was to travel. And I travelled for quite a long time in Australia and overseas. And that's when I studied tourism at TAFE was my beginning of my secondary or my tertiary education. And that's how I landed up in the Northern Territory guiding. And I had a really great time there. And I've always wanted to live in really nice places. I grew up in a city in Melbourne, and I was always a huge fan of the bush. And I guess I always just dreamed that, you really can have whatever life you want. And now, like when I look back at how much things have evolved in, since going to school in the 90s, like there's so much we can have at our fingertips, and working remotely really enables us to, I guess, excel our career at the same time as being able to choose a lifestyle that really suits us. So that's a really brief history.
But I love that, one of your values is living and working in a great place and making that happen for yourself. So I think you're a really good shining example of how you can make that happen and rely on digital technology to be able to enable that for you. So with Gibsons Pet Friendly, obviously an important player in the tourism sector in your tourism region, but still a small business. And being a small business, then you've got multiple hats to wear. You're the marketing and sales manager, you're the product manager, booking coordinator, digital expert on the team. So what does that look like for you developing those digital capabilities over the last, it's 5 years, isn't it? You've been with them over the last 5 years in the business.
Actually, almost 8.
Oh, sorry, 7 years, nearly 8. Yeah. So that's been quite a journey, and digital has changed a lot through that time. What have been some of those standout steps that have been able to help you to leap forward? Because that's what we know. We encourage business operators to take one step at a time with digital to build their confidence. So what does that look like for you in terms of that digital journey?
When I think back to when I first started that job, it was 8 years ago, or 7 to 8 years ago, we were we had a really old website where it had the menu down the side. So that's when I first came on board, and our bookings were all a manual process. So it was either by phone or email. And when people would email an inquiry, we would email them back this box, and the box we would copy and paste that had a summary of what they inquired about, a quoted price, and then they would email back, yes, we'd like to go ahead and book. So we would create an invoice, and then we would send the invoice back to them requesting a 50% deposit, and then we would have to, and so on. So that booking process would sometimes, or quite often, would extend over a couple of days. And now when I think where we are at is obviously it's all online. Everything's able to be done online. Confirmations are sent online automatically. And also, prior to your arrival, handcrafted email is also sent as well, like the day of arrival. And all of this is automated. And when I think back to how it was 8 years ago, it is just changed so much. And I guess the interesting thing too, when I look back on the roles, like I guess with digital these days, nothing really fits in a box in terms of like roles, and we're in such a transitional phase that's constantly evolving. And when I think back on the roles over that time as well, between my boss and I, Kieran Gibson, our roles have changed over that time as well, with what one another has done, depending on our availability and other commitments as well. So we have also swapped roles, and it's just so interesting. And also with our role swapping, like he has over the last few years taken on the bookings, like managing the customer service and the booking side of it, like managing the chat and the emails, etc. but yeah, it's so interesting, and he, like, also with being able to, because of digital and being able to be remote and work from anywhere, we're able to have that interchangeable like roles as well.
Would you say that the owner, Kieran, being open to using digital has been a really helpful thing to be able to enable that change? Or did you have to twist his arm a little bit?
No, the best thing about Kieran is that from the beginning he has been extremely trustworthy with experimenting with digital. So that has been a huge, I guess, that's enabled us to be able to grow digitally. So with, for an example that I can use is that I remember when I decided to redo the website and to try and make us have online bookings, and we got, well, I can talk a little bit further down the track about our, what's happened with our website journey. But at one stage I was like, well, I really want to make the website be able to be, for people to be able to book online. And I remember saying to Kieran, I don't know if this is going to work, because here we are with a booking system that Wix offers, like their internal booking system, and it's set up more for hotels rather than holiday accommodation. And I said to him, I don't know if this is going to work. Like, I could spend 30 hours, 40 hours plus on it, and there's no guarantee whether it's going to work, if I can make it work. And I asked him if he was happy for me to keep trying, and he said, yep, go for it. And it did. And and there was even a period of time where I had to leave it because I couldn't make it work. And it was only until I revisited it that I could think out, outside the box and go, how can we make this system work for us? That I was successful with it. So a huge, a real compliment to him too, to be able to trust, a staff member to try and, succeed. So if there's a little bit more micromanaging, then that just wouldn't have happened. And I don't know where we'd be today.
So that would have supported business goals of growth, did it? Is all your business direct, or do you also distribute through online travel agencies?
So no OTAs, and I guess at one stage actually we did list through Stays, so that was the only site that we listed through. And at this stage, Stays didn't yet offer online bookings. And I did start to notice with the search results that Stays was always above Gibsons Pet Friendly. And I really wanted to, in the beginning of our journey, I really wanted to, rather than give these, OTAs our business, I really wanted to focus on making, building up our reputation between our guests and the people that come and visit us, like directly, rather than relying upon that, the OTAs, and then claiming that space on Google. So quite early on, well, it's actually when Stays moved to their online booking, I thought, right, we either choose with us to put all of our effort into our own business and not listing with OTAs, and really refining our customer, experience, and, our communication and everything that we offer our customers, like really try and focus, internally. And yeah, I'm so glad we did. And I guess we're a little bit lucky too, in the terms that our competition space is quite minimal because we are niche market. So being pet friendly, and we really focus on that experience side as well. So we really rely upon the destination and the activities that you can do in the area with your pets, and we really try and share that as well, rather than we're pet friendly and you can come and stay with us. It's like, this is what you can do when you come and stay with us. Like, we really try and paint that picture.
So it sounds like there were a few, I'm sort of hearing that there might have been a few light bulb moments for you on that website journey. So you've rolled up your sleeves and you've gone, I'm going to do it myself and make this Wix website work for us, and you broke the challenges of that, a few cold sweats and go back to it every time it didn't work, but you've got that you've got that working, you've got the online booking component of that working for you. So were there some marketing light bulb moments where you went, okay, this is our target market, what do they really care about? They really care about having a lovely, relaxed time with their dogs. So, let's give them what they need, the content that they need to do that.
Yeah. And I
guess, so you've been building that for a while, it sounds like, to be able to get the benefit on the search engines, to be able to win those prime positions above stage. We won't tell stories.
Well, in the early days, I remember when I decided that, okay, I decided to rework our website. So we got our website, a new one 8 years ago, built with a web developer that chose Wix as a platform. So we knew nothing. I knew nothing about anything about websites. I'd probably never heard of the word WordPress or Wix or anything. So this is just what we ended up with, which is, I'm sure 99% of operators can say the same thing. They don't, this is what they ended up with and this is what their journey is now. And when I decided that I wanted so much more from the website that we had purchased or had been built for us, I thought, all right, the only way that I can do this is to do it myself. And this is the beauty that I find about Wix, that it really is, every website platform has their pros and cons, and Wix is definitely, there's some certain areas that I find very challenging with Wix, but in terms of for our journey and wanting to be self-sufficient in, owning that space and being able to edit that space and change that space and evolve that space, it was so beneficial for us. And that there was so much learning in the early days, and there was so much Googling, the Wix help, like, how do I do this and how do I do that and how do I do this and I want to do this and how do I do that? And everything was self-taught, like everything. And this is what I feel like with operators, that I'm not someone who has come from, a 20-year IT background and, I've inherited all this knowledge. I'm where you may be, right. What am I trying to say? Like, I guess there's many operators that are at the stage I was at 8 years ago, and it's totally doable. And there's some operators that I see that I'm like, wow, like what you're doing is amazing. And, they're miles ahead of what we're doing. So, everyone's just at different stages. And I think we live in a world where there's so much available at our fingertips these days, and we're so connected too, thanks to the internet, that it is totally doable. It just takes that, I guess that work and that, not giving up attitude.
It's a willingness to be curious too, and challenging, is this doable, and finding the YouTube videos and Googling and tutorials, and yes, that's great. That's, I know your website and I've seen it, and I'm going to ask you some more questions about something else about what you're doing with your website shortly, because I know that, we know that it's the foundation of your sales platform, and it's like your 24/7 salesperson, and it has to be as good as it can possibly be. But I know that also an area for you where you do lead and you do show small businesses how it can be done, and you help them as well, is in social media. So that landscape's obviously changed a lot and continues to change, and Instagram and Facebook are our two main platforms that we use in tourism. How have you adapted to those platforms? And, tell us about how you're using it for Gibsons Pet Friendly. How do you make the most of Facebook and Instagram?
I guess that the social media aspect of a small business and your journey with social media and promoting yourself, a pivotal moment for me with change was that I went about social media like it was a pain, and I never enjoyed it, and I found it a drag, and it was very frustrating for me. But the pivotal moment of change for me was when I realized that I'm actually living the life that our visitors come here to have a weekend of. And when I realized that I need to share what it is that this region offers with a dog in tow. And if we're going to put this in a different context, that you live in a region that has fantastic walks or some great swimming spots or some beautiful beaches or some incredible cafes, and this is what you enjoy yourself about the region, then we don't need to think about what's out there. We just need to share our how we experience our place, because a lot of people, when we work in the tourism industry, obviously, we are in a job that is, we're not in a city, we're not in that 9 to 5 grind, and we feel like we need to get away. It's like at the end of the day, we can do that every day. And I realized when I first started sharing social media from an experiential point of view, like crafting my posts from, the things that are able to do, like the pet friendly cafes, the beaches, like what the afternoons like when I'm down at the beach watching the sunset with my dog. So there's so much like that really changed the journey for me. And also like interacting with our guests. So by being more, sharing things more personally, like you can see that picture there of the beach in the wintertime there. These are all, the things that I do out and about when I'm not at work. And I guess, by interacting with our audience too. So there was a really long time that I didn't touch Instagram. I think we set up an account and I really didn't want to go there. I didn't see the value in it, and I was like, oh, another thing that I have to maintain. And then I decided, right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it the best that I can. And I would never ever not use Instagram because it is just so valuable for our business, and because of the visual aspect of it as well. So what I always quite often say to clients as well is that if we're going to scroll our Instagram listing, like can we understand what it is that our business offers us, like within that first 30 seconds of scrolling? So, and I really try and mix it up too with our guests and our accommodation. And you can see there's the sunset post there on the top right. By sharing, I guess, the lifestyle that we're living here day in, day out. Yeah. It's really helped my journey with social media.
Yeah, it's that really, you've just made it natural and easy, haven't you? Rather than forcing it, you've found your thing that's easy for you to post about. You've worked out that that's what your guests want. They want a snapshot of the lifestyle that they're going to get to experience when they escape from the city or whatever they're doing for the weekend. That's magic. And so how did you get a sense of immediate benefit when you did that pivot on the way that you were posting and when you started to post about lifestyle?
There was two sides of the coin. The first one was how much it took the pressure off for me, because I just share. If I'm out and about and it's a really nice sunset or it's a great morning walk, I just take a couple of pictures and I know that I can use that later. So that's one side of how we've experienced the benefit. And the second side is too that I've noticed our following it's improved our following. And then also, especially with Instagram, I guess if you gain that little bit of following and we all know that we hop on social media and we are like, oh, this would be really nice. It's like it really massages that dream phase. And then if our guests finally get to that point where they're like, they are experiencing what they have been yearning for when they've been scrolling these posts and seeing them, then they want to snap it too. And they want to go, I'm here, I'm doing this, and then share it with all of their friends, and they tag us in their pictures. So, it's really, I love it. And I can also see through the back end with Google Analytics, keeping an eye on that I can see that we have people heading to our website from our social media posting. So I can see that it's really valuable. And even if those customers aren't necessarily booking, I do know that we're staying in their minds, like they're being reminded of us, and not, I guess, sold to constantly. It's just a sharing. We're just sharing.
They're great tips they're real life tips that you're sharing there, Claire. And I just wonder, anybody who's listening live to us, can you relate to any of that? Any challenges that you're experiencing with social media, or some wins that you've had? Please share those in the comments, because others will really value that as well, and we'd love to hear it. So are there any other, in terms of social media, would you say that there's any things that you generally pass on to people who you're coaching around consistency, or any efficiency tips or content tips that you use?
Scheduling tools are the absolute must, because otherwise you're going to be forever tethered to social media that you should be posting tomorrow at this time. And so scheduling tools are an absolute must. And in saying that, when you asked about frustrations list, Liz, I use a scheduling tool, and it has worked for me for years. This is Hootsuite that I use, and over the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've had absolute problems with it. And so I'm probably going to have to look into a different way of scheduling. And that's why, if you do look at our social media, that it looks quite scarce over the last few weeks, because I've had such problems with it. So I'm going to have to move on to something else. But this is also a reflection of the industry, that things change, and sometimes things work for you and then they stop working for you, and you've got to find another solution. And this is where I guess we can experiment with something else and find out its benefits and how it can help us, if we try something different.
That's interesting, isn't it? How and we see that you can be going into an application, and particularly social media, and all of a sudden there's a new feature there, or they've rearranged things, or you can't find something you could find before. Maybe you'll have a look at Creator Studio as a stopgap for you within Facebook, so that you can at least pre-schedule your Facebook and Instagram posts in the one place again. That might keep you going until you find something a bit more sort of comprehensive. But and we know that Facebook have just introduced Business Suite, haven't they, where they've brought together some of those things like Creator Studio and some other features that are nicely integrated in your phone as well. So that might be worth having a look at too.
Yes.
So that's great. I really loved that you've been going in and you can see the difference in the traffic coming to the Gibson Pet Friendly website from social media. So obviously social media plays a really important role in introducing people to a business website and bringing them across there. What about email marketing? Now, I know, because I've got insider information, that you absolutely coach and help other businesses out, introducing them to the concepts of email marketing and email marketing automation. And so I would love it if you could tell us the story about what you did in Gibsons Pet Friendly, the steps that you took. And because there's always a high level of curiosity now in training sessions from businesses wanting to understand more. So I think if you talk us through that, that would be really helpful for people.
So I guess with email, when we think, or when a client will say, I want to look at email automation, there's so many aspects of email automation. So I guess that's the first thing to think about is, what do you already do that's manually? And the next question is, how can you do that automatically? So if I think back to the beginning of our journey as well, so obviously a client will, or a guest or potential guests will email, or they'll make a booking, and then through our booking system, an automated email is sent of their booking confirmation, and that's quite common with most booking platforms, that you'll have that service available. But then there's other emails that you like to send to your guests, like the pre-email and maybe the post-checkout email. And this is where what we were doing manually was a day before arrival. We have key safe check-in, so we don't need to meet them, but they obviously need the instructions about their key safe code. And we don't want to give them this to them at their time of booking as well, because obviously they could cancel or rearrange their booking. So this is something that's really nice to send to them a day of arrival or a day before arrival. So we used to do this manually, and also in that email as well, we would pop in, things to do. So it was a real nice welcome email, and then once again touching on that experience. So rather than just saying, here's your check-in email, have a great holiday, it's like, check out the cafes to do, check out the dog-friendly beaches. This is the information that's available to you to really make the most of your stay. So this is where Zapier came into handy for us, and every business is different as to what tools they use. And you're not just going to you've got your email program, then you've got your booking system, and then you've got lots of different tools that you use. So this is where Zapier worked for us. It would take the information from our booking calendar and it would send. So Zapier is a program that can link one software with another software. So we have our people that make their booking, and we've got their booking information, and Zapier is like the thing that will communicate from one program to another. So we've got the people that make the booking, and then we've got this information, and Zapier will take that information on that particular date that we tell it to, and then we tell it to send this email to that person. So that was something that is now automated. So the day of arrival, they get their check-in information, and then their day of their checkout, they get an email that's automated also through Zapier that asks them how their stay was, and that we hope they had a great time. And then we give them the links to our review platforms, being Google My Business and also Facebook. And then we ask them if there's anything that we can improve, please email us back so we have a chance to hear their thoughts, to try and cover any of that. If there's someone who hasn't been happy, to give them the chance, to let them know we really want to hear about it, rather than just leave a bad review. So that's one part of the automation that we began with. And the second automation that we did was our lead magnet. So that was a huge I'll call it a project, but it was such a monumental achievement for us. And I guess the reason why I find it so monumental is it feels like we've implemented something that was so much work, but in terms of it just humming along in the background and really working for us it's so great to see. I'm so happy with it.
Can you explain for our audience? I mean, lead magnet sounds like a very salesy kind of term, and it does its genesis, but it's also a real value add for a website user as well. Could you explain for the audience what the lead magnet is, what its purpose is, and how it works?
Yeah, sure. So a way I really like to explain it, if we wind back a little bit and we think back to when I was talking about social media and how with social media, we're just sharing, we're sharing what our days are like, we're sharing what the beach is like, etc. So it's a part, like we're not expecting anything in return, and what we're doing, we're giving, we're sharing. So when we think about that, when we go to a lead magnet, it's sort of the same concept. We might need to edit that bit out a little bit later. So it's sort of the same concept. So what we're doing is that we're offering our people that come to our website, we're offering them something that will be of interest and will be of help for them. So we created a guide, and our guide is like quite a comprehensive guide, but it's like the ultimate guide to Agnes Water and 1770 for the ultimate pet lovers guide to Agnes Water and 1770. So once again, drawing on the experience of us living in the region, what we know about it, all the nooks and crannies of the area, the pet-friendly cafes, then this is the guide that has it all. So you can see an example there on the screen that it shows as a pop-up. So it's an offering. So it's saying, here's what we have. This, can really help that dream phase, or that, I guess, exploring this destination. Is it right for you? Will it tick all the boxes about the type of holiday that you want to have? So we're offering something to our browsers in a way. And what they get in return is, firstly, what's promised, the guide, and then that guide is part of an email automation sequence. So that first email is the guide, the link to the guide, and then a couple of days later, or maybe it's 1 or 3 days later, we follow up asking, did they have a chance to look at the guide? I've done an interpretive map in there. Did they check out the map? And then 3 days later, again, there's another email that says about a special offer. So we're giving our potential customers and I guess a little bit of a carrot, like some incentive or something that will entice them to book. So most of the time we suggest a value add is the first choice. So if you can offer a free bottle of wine, or a sunset tour, or whatever there is that you can value add, or the other option is to do a discount, and then the last email in that series is asking if they want to hear from us, like do they want to hear about the special offers or the news, and that way they can join our subscriber list so they can always stay in the loop. And that way we're collecting subscribers as well as our little subscriber box that we've got working on our footer of our website. So that's just 2 examples of automation.
That's brilliant. You explained it really beautifully, Claire. So we're seeing these essentially 3 automated emails that come in what we would call a nurturing sequence, so that you're giving them something you promise them, which is a beautiful brochure, so they can imagine and really sort of plan their stay in the area with their pet. Then you're nurturing them through a sequence of automated emails that happen while you sleep. You don't have to do anything. And that's what you mean when you say it's been humming along, eventually to the point where it's their choice to opt in, to join your subscriber list, to join your database. So you've respected all of the spam legislation, and you have built trust with them on that journey. And they're like, these people really are, they know what they're doing. They're really helpful. Yes, if I'm going to stay anywhere, I'm going to book with them, and I do want to remain in contact with them. And isn't that better than just being subscribed instantly to an email list where you get emails regularly that you really don't want? You've consciously made that decision. Can you tell our audience about the different apps or software you used to create the lead magnet and these automations?
So to create the brochure, we used Canva, and I could not have done it without Canva. I actually started with I grabbed inspiration from a travel guide, and that was done as a PDF. So I first started, with the PDF, and then I downloaded it as a Word document, and then I started trying to rearrange it, and everyone can know how nightmarish formatting is anyway, let alone trying to have a beautiful magazine brochure that you're trying to make out of a Word document. And that's when I went exploring with Canva, and I found Canva offers most people, well, probably not most people, but there are a few people that are familiar with Canva, and they may be using Canva for their social media. But Canva also offers magazine templates, and that was just that was so great to work with. It was so easy. It's just a drag and drop, and then you can, make all your text fit your branding, and then upload all your photographs. So that's one program that we worked with. And the email automation system that we work with is Mailerlite. And I'd never worked with it before. We always used the Wix internal marketing system. So I hadn't used Mailchimp much. I always found Mailchimp very hard to use. So I was like, all right, let's give Mailerlite a go. And it's so easy. And I'm not, if anything comes quite complex in terms of I don't know, systems, I'm always the first person to be like, no. But I found Mailerlite it's so easy to use. It's very visual as well, and that's what I think is so great about it. And they have a free version, which we didn't need to pay for the free version, but we decided to pay for an upgrade, and that way you get email support or just the little chat support, and they're so helpful. So in terms of customer service, anyone that provides customer service to me, they are an absolute winner. That is always a high priority for me with the business. Mailerlite's fantastic.
So great, Claire. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that's what people really want to know is
It's a digital discovery dog show.
The digital dogs going off, digital alarms. What are you actually using? What are the tools you're using? So Canva.com, and I know your brochure, and I've seen the other ones that you've helped other operators create as well by using that magazine template. You've even encouraged me to go in and develop them for proposals. So I've actually used it for business proposals as well. So Canva.com, that's that tool that turns really non-designers have a lot of design capability in it, so it's fantastic. And then Mailerlite, you're the expert in Mailerlite. I personally need to play with it because I'm using Active Campaign, because we use that in the business for Navii and Tourism Tribe. So I'm increasingly building my understanding of that. But I need to get into Mailerlite. And I think it's good if you can try a couple of different systems, you get to compare, and then you're able to help other people. And that's really good. So if you reflect back on these different things that you've implemented, the website development, the online booking, great content on the website. So you're writing blog posts, aren't you, for search engine optimization to help with that. Changes in social media, the email marketing automation and the lead magnet. When you sort of sit back and reflect on I'm using Zapier to automate those pre and post day emails. Overall, what would you say have been kind of the genuine business wins? Has it enabled growth in some ways out of certain markets? What about time saving? When you sit back and really think about it, what has been able to be achieved because of using these, transforming these processes and this marketing with digital?
When I think back, there's been many achievements or that has helped or wins, and in business internally, in terms of automating things like time saving has been a huge thing. So I guess I know from experience there's always that when you're going down the path of trying to implement something, I find there's always this internal struggle that's going on. This is taking so much time. And this is what I would think constantly in those early days. This is taking so much time. The lead magnet, this is taking so much time. Doing email automation, this is taking so much time, like setting all these things up. But once they're done, they're done. And that's what the great thing is. And then you go, when I think back, as I need today from your questions, I think back and I go, wow, we used to do all of those. We used to do them all. We have to do it manually. Like we used to do all of those manually. Like, oh, who's coming in today? Okay, right, send them this email. Like, oh, who's coming in today? Right, send them an email. No matter what day of the week it was. Who's departing today? Right, send them an email. And I guess the other side of it as well is how much more freedom it has given us. Like 5 years ago, we used to have Outlook, and Outlook was always tied to your computer. So you could only check your Outlook on your computer unless, there are other ways that you can do it, web to mail, you can log in, but it's not easy. And we switched over to G Suite. And I really remember that moment because both Kieran and I work in different locations. I remember that moment that like all of a sudden we have our phone and we can check our emails and we can monitor our emails on the phone. And not only did it help us, it also helped our customers too, because we were able to respond in a much more timely manner than what we would have if we're in the office between these hours and we only can check our emails between these hours. And I guess another thing about staying up to date with digital, like I quite often hear, I guess sometimes operators being not so defensive, but this is what they do. This is how they've always done it. But the problem is that if we don't grow as a business with the changes that are happening around us, then we can't keep up with our customers' expectations as well. And I guess in today's day and age, customers have an expectation to be responded to within a timely manner. And we can't expect them to understand that we haven't yet implemented, we haven't yet switched to an email program that allows us to access our emails, when we're not in the office. So when we don't get a chance to explain that either, they'll simply go and look elsewhere. So by keeping up with the times, not only does it help our customer experience, it also helps us and gives us more freedom that if we can't be in the office that day, we can still check our emails as long as obviously we're in a place that has reception. So it's a win-win on both sides.
You're talking about email and responsiveness, which triggered off thinking for me about Facebook Messenger live chat. They're two tools that have become so much more utilised by consumers. How have you adapted to that kind of instant response, those instant response platforms in the business?
Yeah, live chat. We have a live chat on our website. And once again, years ago, I was like, live chat, why would I have something else I have to monitor and do? And, it's live chat, you should have live chat. And I'm like, all right, let's give live chat a go. Let's just give it a go. And if we don't like it, we can turn it off. So we decided to give live chat a go, and I would never, ever, ever turn it off. And the reasons why is because there's two things that happen. And the first thing is that we have a chance to build a customer rapport. So if a customer starts a conversation, it's harder to have that rapport. So in the old days, we would have that over the phone, or we'd have that back and forth via an email. With a live chat, we have a chance to build this instant rapport. So a customer will ask a question, oh, we're there, they're responding to us. oh, they're really friendly. Oh, wow, they're really helpful. So we build this rapport happens. That was totally unexpected from me. I never foresaw that happening. And secondly, what happens from a customer's point of view is quite often there may be something that's holding them off booking. So quite often what you found in our experience is it's just a little question. So it might be, I don't know what accommodation to choose. They all look so great. I don't know which one to choose. And so they're like, should I choose townhouse number 1 or townhouse number 3? And they just want help to choose, but it's not enough to pick up the phone, or it's not a big enough question to write an email. So they ask on the chat, and then their question gets answered. We've built a rapport with them, and then I found like 90% of the time it would result in a booking. So if we didn't have that live chat, they wouldn't have booked. They wouldn't have had that little thing that was holding them back wouldn't have been resolved, and then they may have gone and looked elsewhere. So I would never, ever, ever turn it off again.
No, you wouldn't, would you? And we've heard that before from other business operators, that the live chat, the conversion off live chat is really, really strong. So they are so warm at that stage, and imagine, and they just want that instant. They just want an instant reply. And they might have earphones in. They might be at work doing a sneaky live chat. They don't want to get on the phone. And at the end of the day, there's this real swing towards, I just don't know that I want to be bothered talking. It's so much easier to just press buttons. So that's awesome. What live chat plugin do you use on the website?
Well, Wix has their own one, so we use the Wix one, and that totally serves the purpose for us. And also, another concern I've heard as well from operators is they don't want to be tied to their computer or tied to their office to be able to just monitor this live chat. But I don't know if there's even a live chat that you couldn't manage via your phone. So with our live chat, Wix has an app, which is absolutely terrible. If you're hearing this, Wix, it's terrible. But we can respond to our live chats through our phone. So same thing, we get a notification, and it also gives us data. So it will tell us what page they're on. It will tell us if they've been, if they've been to our website before. If they've subscribed to us, it will show their name as well. So there's so much more information that we get from that live chat too. And I remember, once again, like pivotal moment, if we want to go shopping here in Agnes Water, if we want to go buy some sneakers or something, we need to drive an hour and a half. So often it's like a whole day off work to go and do your monthly shop. And I remember standing at the traffic lights, and it was a pivotal moment because my car was in to get its tires done, and I had my phone with me, and here's the live chat, and here I am doing work, from my phone at a traffic light. And I remember just thinking, wow, this is amazing. Like, being able to respond to our customers and asking questions, and at the same time get on with our lives. It's so good. I love it.
It absolutely works for you. And most people will find that is a great solution to be able to prioritize things in their life. And I think we've kind of moved on. I don't even know that this term work-life balance even works. It's all just life, isn't it? And making it work for you, and making choices and choosing ways of doing things that enable you to prioritize and get things done that you want to do. It's awesome.
And I guess this is just with the way the world's going, that people realize now. In the past, the old thinking was you had to choose. Do you choose your career or do you choose your lifestyle? And it's, especially working for Tourism Tribe, it's like, wow, I can have both.
Awesome. We love having you too. I'm going to ask you, we've just crossed some awesome ground with you, and I love that you've been able to share in really, great language, clear, non-tech language, what you're doing and the tools that you're using. And I think that's going to be really helpful for people. And I just wonder, though, if you've got some closing remarks, like if you think about a friend who's got a business who is feeling a bit overwhelmed and holding back a bit about trying new digital platforms, what words of encouragement would you give to them? What would be your sort of key tips of advice you would say to this friend?
I often do this with myself too, because I give this advice quite a lot, that I go, all right, Claire, it's time to take your own advice. But when people are feeling really overwhelmed, it's usually because we're looking at too much. So the best thing to do, and if we're looking at other people and what they're doing, so, oh, wow, they're doing this, they're doing all that, comparing. Whereas if we bring it back to ourselves, like, what is the next step in our business? And if we just choose one thing that we would like to make our lives simpler or experiment with, just to break it down. Like, if we go, okay, say if your key takeaway from this is, I really want to try live chat. Break it down, what are those steps to achieve that? So rather than go, I need to do live chat, I need to do email automation, I need to do a lead magnet, just choose one thing and then break down the steps to it. So first step, let's research the live chats plugins that are available with the website that we use. Second, let's just see which one, might be suitable to us and make a list of the things that we want, the features that we want. 3, let's try and implement it. Number 4, let's give it a month. Number 5, do we like it? So just breaking things down, really looking at where you are at as a business, because everyone's at different stages. Even with Gibsons Pet Friendly, I haven't done it all, and there's things that that are in my next steps to implement. I'm definitely no guru, but we're all at different stages. And just breaking it down and looking at where you're at is a huge step.
I think that is one of the best pieces of advice I have ever heard. I really do. I really do. I think because we hear that small business operators, one of the big challenges is just not knowing where to start. They feel overwhelmed. They've sort of gotten behind the 8 ball a bit, and we all are, because technology keeps changing so quickly. It is impossible to be on top of it. Absolutely. You just can't, because there's always a new opportunity coming out. So that is an amazing piece of advice, Claire. And overall, this conversation with you has been absolutely top-notch in terms of the valuable experience that you have shared. If people wanted to contact you, Claire, and chat with you more, how would you like them to do that?
If they wanted to send me an email at claire@tourismtribe.com, they're more than happy to reach out. We also have coaching sessions that can be booked through Tourism Tribe, one-on-one coaching sessions. And I also, I really love helping people on their journey, because I've been there myself and I know what it's like. So I really enjoy, especially coaching sessions with ops that are, struggling, or if they feel like they need a little bit of direction. I'm more than, I love those sessions. So if you do feel like there's that one-on-one that you feel like you could really benefit from, then that can be booked through our website. There we go. Down there.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's our magical Hannah in the background, who's providing those additional overlays. The other thing I think, just before we say goodbye, is to let people know who are listening live to this, and at any time in the future, really, that this sort of conversation, we're able to edit them down to really nice case studies and short case studies on particular areas of business and different types of businesses. And that's a key feature of the campaign we are launching that starts on the 18th of November, which is 3 free video episodes speaking to small businesses about their journey in digital and how they have transformed their business in COVID, or future-proofed it regardless of COVID, to be able to make it a much more robust and sustainable and growing business. And so this campaign is called One Small Step, and it's part of launching our new Navii business, which is for all business types. So extending the services that we have provided to tourism to all different business types. So navii.com.au, one small step, as you can see on screen there, will get you the ability to register to have those 3 video episodes direct to your inbox. So please do that. And from those video episodes, from the One Small Step page, once we hit the 18th of November, you'll also be able to access all these fantastic short case studies as well. So you're definitely going into the case study pot now, Claire, after that awesome interview. And thank you so much.
Us now, dogs.
plus dogs.
Yes.
So thank you so much for your time taking it. Thank Kieran for letting you escape from Gibsons Pet Friendly. And those of you looking for a beautiful Queensland break with your fur baby, then gibsonspetfriendly.com is what you need to check out. So
you need to book in advance.
Say that again, sorry.
You could book in advance.
Yes, you're a bit full. Yes, book in advance. Okay, thank you, Claire.
Thanks,
Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Bye.